Imagine you're here with your business coach, journaling about your limitations and your blocks, trying to overcome them, while we're here with my clients, crawling on the floor, fighting our insecurities with swords, self-pleasuring into our goals, using your voice as an anchor for your conviction, and also working on the really businessy side of business, those very tangible strategic moves that we have to take, but in a way that makes sense for a feminine spiritual business, without giving up on the structure, the system, the strategies, all the things that makes a business, just adding to that a touch of feminine magic, of embodiment practices, of nervous system regulation, because through the body you get faster, better results. So this episode is for the women who've done it all the strategy, the plan, the funnel, the content calendars, but they still feel blocked and seen. They're still facing their limitations and they don't feel like they're going anywhere with those. It's still holding them back. In this episode, I'm gonna pull the curtain on the behind the scene of what I do with my clients within Business Activator, something I've never revealed. It's my best kept secret of what actually happens in the calls with my client. It's the thing that actually happens within the calls that no one else talks about. This is my unique framework, the body-based feminine approach to business that makes all the strategy finally land of running a business from your body. This is the kind of work that really helps women feel safe to be seen, speak powerfully, sell with conviction, raise their prices, and show up like the damn CEO, not just in their heads, not just in their journals, but in real life, like really embodied. Before we start, I want to remind you that if you rate and review this podcast and you screenshot it and then you send it to me in DMs, it's that simple. I swear it doesn't take that long. If you do this, you can actually enter the giveaway that I run every single month. I pull 3 people to win a 25 mini business activation with me where we can apply everything we're going to talk in this podcast. It's for you to really get activated into the next level of your business or to remove a block for good. And all you got to do is review this podcast because that really helps. Let's jump in. Welcome back. Happy Friday. I'm back from 10 days in Prague. That was so amazing. I shared with you in my latest episode all of my birthday trip, how my man surprised me for my birthday and I kind of disappeared. But I'm back with so much more energy and so much things to share because in my life right now, so many things are happening. I'm getting into a new business mastermind at the end of the month. I'm getting some podcast training, which really sparked this conversation today, and I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm about to go through the official big launch of my signature program, My Baby, the places where I've seen the most transformation in my coaching business for my clients, which is Business Activator. It's very exciting. I'm soon going on another trip. I mean, so much is happening, and I'm really excited. We're about to also shift our family dynamic as Rosie is turning 1. Rosie is turning 1 tomorrow as you're listening to this episode. Like, what? I gave birth a year ago. What the fuck? It's really blowing my mind. I'm not gonna lie. But she is ready. We are ready for daycare, which means mama is gonna be back to business full force, full time, full fire. So a lot of changes. But in today's episode, I really want to share with you about how important it is to back your strategy with something that makes sense in your body. I feel like this is the biggest missing part of all of the business advice. And then you have the feminine world on the other side that's hyper focused on embodiment and practices and crying and punching pillows. But how do we bridge the two so that we create an entrepreneurial life? That one was hard. Entrepreneurial. A life of an entrepreneur, a feminine entrepreneur that just feels good in your business and you can go and crush your goals. And we use the same strategies and the same proven techniques to make the dream happen, but we also go through the body. How does that sound? So today I'm actually going to reveal some of the most best kept secret of what happens with my clients. And this conversation was sparked when I was trying to refine a little bit my podcast, come up with podcast topics, and I'm just trying to grow this show. I decided enough is enough. I've had this show since 2020. We're in 2025. I've been showing up consistently for 5 years. You've seen my journey, but it has been more of a journal entry. You've seen me, my life, my reflections, my change, everything that impacted my life. But I really want to take this place to the next level. So I got into podcast training and we were refining what is unique to me, what is unique to my method, to the framework that I use with my client. And of course, for me, it just makes sense because I know what I do and I know what I do with my clients. When I'm in a call, it's just natural. It's very intuitive. It's a lot of fire, a lot of power, a lot of things that make sense. And I have a very unique way of bringing results to my clients. It's different from everything I've ever experienced and it's really me. But I've never really shared what happens and why I work in this way, the reason why it's so effective, why my clients get to stabilize 5K a month and signing their best programs yet and signing their biggest offer and creating a branding that makes sense and really stepping into their CEO and being able to have better boundaries and make more money and really take their business off the ground with a lot of structure and organization and spreadsheets and I need to tell you what we found out. But I'm just very excited. Everything is pouring out of me like that. But I really want to share the practices that might change your life and your business forever. Because this is my bread and butter, right? This is what I do. This is my unique magic. And I'm like, ooh, it's edgy for me to even share it, but I'm very excited because I also want you to experience a little bit of my magic and what is unique to me, and I don't want to keep hiding it. I want to share more of what happens behind the scenes. But the reason why I got excited when I say spreadsheets and stuff, it's because we realized something, how my coaching is really based on my big three. Because I'm a Libra sun. So all of my coaching, we're going to speak about pleasure, sensuality. We want things to look pretty. Aesthetic is really important for me, but also being the bridge, the equilibrium between feminine and masculine, between flow and structure. This is the equilibrium of a Libra, right? Then I'm a Sagittarius rising. So I have this fire sign that is my tough love coaching. Let's break through limitations. This thirst for freedom, breaking the rules, and really going for it. So that's why we're going to end up crawling on the floor, screaming and burning to the ground every limitation, every insecurities that we have. It's this ability to break the rules and create new rules, to gain more freedom in the way we speak, the way we show up and everything. And finally, I'm a Virgo moon, so that makes everything very detail oriented, very I'm gonna share with you my Google Docs, my spreadsheets, all the things that keeps me really organized, very structured, and everything has to be click. Like in French, I would say tac, 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 boom, boom, let's go. Okay. I realized this is the spectrum of what really happens, how I coach people. You know how for the longest time I was it's very holistic because we cover a lot, but I realized it's so connected to my big three, to my astrology. So anyway, that was just a parenthesis because I'm just so excited about this info, because when we figure that out within the podcast training that I'm doing with my friend Chelsea, it just was mind explosion. It makes so much sense why I didn't connect those dots before. But today I really wanted to talk about the body-based business, which is my unique framework. It's what I lead my client through, because my deepest belief, and my belief because of evidence, right, is that you get faster, better results when your body is on board. Think about it for a sec. Your body is where everything happens. You think your business happens in your computer. No, it happens in your body. Your limiting beliefs are stuck in your body. Your nervous system, which means how safe you feel to raise your rates, how safe you feel to be seen, how safe you feel to express yourself, how safe you feel to put a boundary with a client, how safe you feel to go after your dreams and make it happen and take action. This happens in your body, girl. Your ability to receive good things, that happens in your body too. The depth of your breath, how you hold yourself into the world, the intonation of your voice when you speak, all of that happens in your body, which means that not only your business happens through your body, but you can use your body to get to where you want, because your body is infinitely smart and intelligent. And I know if you're on this podcast, you already believe that, right? I don't have to convince you of that. You know how smart, intelligent, amazing your body is. And you probably already even tried some embodiment practices. Have you tried to apply them to your business? Your body is where you work every single day. The thing is, we live in a culture that naturally disconnects us from the body, right? There is such a big superiority of the mind, of the intellect, of the results, but the body is always put to the back burner. The body is always like shameful. The body is always like, oh, weird, like we're not getting there. But I'm a rule breaker, and I figured that everything, literally everything, happens through your body, because we are here, souls and mind, in a physical body, in the tangible 3D. So when we use the body to our advantage, you unlock things you didn't know were accessible to you. You get rid of trauma. You evolve as a person. You change as a person because your body is different. Your body composition, the way you hold yourself, energy, the vibrancy of your body, your energetic fields, all of that changes. That's what I called a body-based business. It's a deeply feminine way to run a business. And it doesn't mean we're going to run our businesses just with hopes and dreams and embodiment practices. Fuck that. We're not doing that. We're doing something that just makes sense. To me, it just makes sense. It's so natural. It's so intuitive. It just is what it is. And I'm really upset it's not taught everywhere. That's also why I'm magical, and that's my genius. So you're welcome. In today's episode, I actually wanted to share a list of tangible practices and exercises that I do with my clients behind closed doors, and to finally share with you. It's very vulnerable because it's literally all of my magic. I've never shared it before, but I really want you to have an idea of what I mean by that, because I can convince you for hours of how good it is to use your body, but what does that actually mean in a tangible form? So I'm going to share with you, I don't know, about 6 or 7 practices that I've done with my clients within Business Activator so that you get a better idea. But because it's my magic and it comes very naturally and intuitively, it's just when I have a client showing up to the call, I just know what we need to do. And I sometimes, most of the time, I actually make up a practice as we go, because all of that happens very intuitively, very naturally for me. So I had to translate a process that happens so naturally for me, that is my magic, into trying to dissect it and turn it into a process so that you can steal it from me and use it for yourself. That's why I pull some of my favorite practices that I've done with my clients so that you see the process and the reason why we do it and what they serve us and the kind of results we get from that practice. So the process really goes like this. You feel into a limitation or a goal or something you're facing right now, just as if you are a client and you go to your coach and you're like, okay, this is what I'm dealing with today. What would you say, right? And you take that. It can be something as, I'm facing the fear of being seen. Like, I really show up consistently on my business. I post stories and reels on my Instagram. I do YouTube videos, but there is something in me that is afraid to share that. I'm afraid to actually see growth in my number. I'm showing just a part of myself, like just my hair, or, I'm not fully there to be seen. And when I think about being seen, I freak the fuck out. Like, my whole system shuts down and I'm like, well, maybe I don't really want what I want. And you start negotiating with your goals. That can be something like that. That could be undercharging and feeling so afraid to raise your rates, or to even say your prices out loud, and to even position yourself like, this is how much it's worth, and always negotiating your price, even in your head, without even having the conversation with the client. For me, for instance, I had this time where I was undercharging and I was pretending, I was lying on sales calls, because I was saying hey, I really like you. Last week it was 50% off. So because I really like you, I'm going to extend it to you, even though the person in front of me had already said yes. So, that's very specific and tangible like that, but it can be a bigger thing, something like feeling uncomfortable saying and claiming what you want, whether it's claiming a desire or your goals, or even just being uncomfortable saying what you do, presenting yourself in a way that makes you smaller. Let's say you run this photography business, you're super freaking talented, and what you do is not just photos, right? You help women and tap into the essence of who they are, you're able as a photographer to not only create a safe space to let all of that come out, but the results of your photos really show that, and people fall more in love with themselves when they see the photos, and they're able to build super powerful personal brands because of your photography business. And when someone asks you what you do, you're just like, well, I'm a photographer, or I have this little side thing. Yeah, I really love photography. And you shrink and you make yourself smaller and you make business smaller, instead of presenting yourself like, this is what I do. I run a photography business that helps women tap into a deeper, like whatever it is, right? It can be with a coaching business and saying like, yeah, this is what I do. Well, I run a coaching business that I don't know, and you shrink and your voice becomes smaller. And maybe it's just adapting to the people you have in front of you, instead of standing your ground and being like, this is always what I do, no matter who is asking. But depending if it's like a family member or a friend of a family member, or someone in your niche that you feel so comfortable, you're gonna show up with confidence, but then you're gonna tone it down when it's not in your industry, when it's not someone who's gonna get it. So I'm giving you 10 examples of what I've may have experienced with clients or within myself. And the process is taking the block, the insecurity, the problem, the things you want to work through, and finding a practice that will show you body. First, the awareness of how it shows up in the body, and second, to rewire it into the opposite. So a lot of what I talked about is connected to one of the 5 pillars of Business Activator, which I called the big shift. And the big shift is the identity shift that you have to do in order to step into that CEO badass version of you. And that's from that identity that you then start to make different decisions, start feeling more confident about yourself, and know your direction for sure. So I won't do like a whole journal prompt about your identity and like how to step and how she shows up. And that's not what we do. This is basic entry level, right? Like we go next freaking level. Journal prompts are super effective. They're amazing to self-reflect, but they don't give you the fast, effective results that going through the body does. And let me tell you, the practices that we do are a ton more uncomfortable. That's why you need to be helped by a coach, right? When you do that, because I'm sharing the process with you so that you can steal it and use it for yourself. But I'm telling you, if you're held by someone that can hold the structure for that, it's going to push you to a discomfort that you won't go by yourself, just because your body is trying to protect you from the discomfort of doing something uncomfortable, doing something new, doing something weird. But I'm here and I'm pushing you so that the real transformation clicks and unlocks in your body. I'm going to go through some of the practices we do and why we do them, right? So for this specific topic I just mentioned, I do one of my favorite exercise with a lot of my clients. I think I've done it with almost every single one of my clients because it's one of my favorite. It's what I called the fake TED Talk. The purpose of this exercise is to anchor you in your conviction, in your story, in your voice, and in your power. So I usually give a few minutes to prepare a fake TED Talk. Rosie is awake now, so let me pause. You won't see the pause, but I'm pausing now to go take care of my baby, and I'll be back. Rosie is now on a walk with her dad, so we can come back to what we were sharing, the fake TED Talk. You have to think about it. We can journal for hours about your identity, but once you have to step on stage, even though it's a fake stage and it's just me, but it's still a pair of eyes that are gonna look at you, right? You're gonna have to stand on stage with your body to tell your story. Why you? Why this story matters? What is your bigger why for your business right now? How are you helping others? What is your unique solution and your unique framework? What makes you so unique? And you have to stand physically, every structure of your body, your bones, your cell, your muscle have to stand in a way where you hold that conviction. You see them. A good TED Talk is someone that is fully inhabited with their whole presence in the message that they're sharing. So doing this exercise with my clients actually help them to step into that level of conviction that you need in order to operate the big shift, the big identity shift into stepping into your CEO, stepping into more confidence, and showing up in a different way in your life, in your business, and creating something that is just next level. And let me tell you, that's very intimidating. Ask my clients. I think all of them really resist this exercise in the beginning. And even me, if you were putting me on the spot right now and you're like, okay, present yourself, present your story, why you do things, why you, what made you start, what was the reason, what was the pivot, and stand in your conviction in one message you would want to share with the whole world if you were to die tomorrow, something that you would want people to remember you for. And so from that exercise, you're able to see the places where they are strong, confident, you feel that fire, energetically, you receive it, you believe it, or the places where there is a little less conviction, because it's going to show up in the sound of the voice, in the intonation, in the small little gestures that we do when we're uncomfortable, like, I don't know. I don't know how to mimic that, but you understand what I mean. And doing it physically, using your body, your voice, your body in the space, projecting your energy outward, that is going to send a message to your body, to your nervous system, that it's safe, that you've done it. And most of the time, you're going to crave more and more of that level of conviction, of that level of confidence, of that level of expression. So you understand now how it's so much more powerful when you have to stand up and really show me with everything you've got, with all of you, your story. You're not writing just an Instagram bio right now, presenting what you do in your work. You're not, it's not stuck in your journals of like, I'm going to work on my identity and repeat to myself affirmations that I am a CEO, and you do it in your head and it's all amazing, but it's not embodied. And let me tell you, embodiment is the hardest thing, because embodiment is not just the practices and the exercises, it's the result. It's who you become on the other side. And that's the hardest thing, because life is going to constantly challenge us to see if we are in integrity with our values. And I've found out in my own life, being embodied in everything that I believe, everything that I preach, and everything that I'm so strongly passionate about, being the true embodiment of that is hard, because so many times we're going to fall out of integrity, out of embodiment, out of, congruence with our visions, with our values. And so the closer we reduce the gap between what we know and the values we hold and who we are in the world, not who we think we are or who we journal that we think we are, but who we truly are in the world, the more we have self-esteem, confidence, self-respect, because we know we can back that, right? So that's also a very fucking incredible way to just build up your self-esteem and build up your confidence. Okay, let's move to another problem and another practice. Practice number 2 with Lika. So this one practice is called the felt boundary experience, okay? So the problem behind this is poor boundaries. So that could be as obvious as just not being able to say no when you don't want to do something, saying yes to projects that you don't really believe in or you don't really fully align with, but you don't know how to say no. You don't know how to put your foot down and say, I'm not doing that. Or a client asking you for something that is completely outside your scope, and you need to reframe what is the purpose of the container, and you have to tell her that maybe dropping her trauma on you is not okay. So that's a boundary you need to hold. It could be something as, taking random calls at random times and having your calendar always open because you think that's what's gonna make your client feel better because they can book whenever they want. But you don't have boundary of like, this is my personal time, this is my time, this is where I do things, compartmentalizing things. This is also an exercise that I do not just in business, but today I really wanted to link it to everything I do within Business Activator, but that's actually a practice that I also could use within Soft and Surrender, which is another mastermind of mine, but this time it's a high-level conversation around polarity, love, femininity, surrender. Like, how do you soften and surrender, tap into your feminine energy, especially when it comes to dating and love? And so the felt boundary experience, now you see me coming, can be really, really useful in the dating or the relationship world, right? Where is it that you feel uncomfortable? All the times you said yes in the bedroom where you didn't feel like it. How many women? Every single woman in my world. Every single one. I don't know one person that at some point in her life didn't overstep her boundaries. Where she did something, it can be something silly, it can be something small. We're not necessarily talking about big abuse, right? But how we've been our self-abuser, putting a tampon in when we didn't check with the body if we were open for this, if the yoni really wanted to receive that, right? Or boundary with friends. Like, boundaries are so important in our lives, and we keep hearing that, and we keep hearing that we need to set our boundaries. But I believe that first we need to feel that on a deeper cellular level. And what I mean by that, this practice specifically, I do it. My favorite way to do it is in person, because I've had a lot of clients in person, but most of my business is online right now because I live in the smallest town in France, in the countryside. I don't have a lot of clients in person anymore. So we do it online. We still have a way to do it online, but I'm going to share with you the in-person experience because this one is so juicy. I love it. So to feel your boundary energetically, we do 2 rounds of this practice and this exercise. So the first one is with open eyes. Okay. So I would have my client standing in one spot, and I would step 10 steps away, and I would come one step after another with a pretty neutral energy, right? So this exercise, we actually do multiple rounds of it because we need to feel different frequency, different energy, and to really assess where is my boundary even physically. When someone comes into my space, into my field, how do I react? How my body reacts to that. So this person, my client, would be standing in one spot. I would step back around 10 to 15 steps, depending how big, but I would do 10 steps away from this person. And I would go progressively one step after another, getting closer and closer physically. And because we do multiple rounds of that, I would come with a neutral energy, and then with a more penetrative energy, and then with a more calm, soft, really benevolent energy. And the point is for my client, the person standing in one spot, to really tune in. My favorite round is when we do all of that eyes closed, because then it's just like how you truly feel. And you can also assess, like, do you have even boundaries, right? The first one is an assessment round. And it's funny how some clients, they have enormous boundaries. Like, you cannot get close to them. They just feel you so much. And others, I can be in their face, like 3 fucking millimeters away, like breathing in their neck kind of thing, and they just don't have a sense of boundary and a sense of self. And so through the practice, we slowly build up what it feels like to have someone in your field, what it feels like to hold a boundary without even using your voice yet. You know, the voice is one of my favorite tools to use. We can do so much. That's why I make my client talk and scream and moan and do all the things with the voice, because we can do a lot, especially with the boundary thing, like saying no, saying yes, all those practices. Those are practices that I share a lot about. Even in Femme Sensuelle, you can access tons of practices like that. Voice activations for your boundaries, saying yes, saying no. There's a lot of things like sounds of pleasure, like hearing yourself in pleasure and what it does. So Femme Sensuelle is my online program to tap into your feminine energy and to really unlock that energy and to deepen this work around pleasure, sexuality, femininity. But in this exercise that I do with my private client in real life, in person, we also have an online version of it. But of course, I cannot be breathing in your neck, quite literally breathing in your neck. You're gonna sense, you're gonna feel, where is it and how does it feel when I'm brave enough to set a boundary? And am I smart enough, intuitive enough, in tune enough with someone's intention to really spot what's good for me and what's not? And that helps you to make better decisions, not just to hold and set your boundaries. Another important part of all those play work and this embodiment practices that we do is also exercises. So I'm going to share a few of them later. I'm about to just share all of that with you. But exercises don't have to be just you standing and moving and cutting your insecurities with swords and stuff like this, or doing a fake TikTok. Sometimes an exercise can be as simple as actually effectively sending a text to reframe a boundary, or calling someone, or saying something, doing something in your actual life that is going to push you a little bit in your discomfort so that you unlock the next version of you. All right, so let's move to a third practice that I love to do that has everything to do with the voice. As I just shared, the voice is such an incredible tool. And take it from me, who doesn't necessarily know how to sing. Like, I wish I was a good singer, but I'm not. But still, my voice is powerful. There is a reason why when you do your EFT tapping, you're saying things out loud. There is a reason why you have mantra and a lot of sound in the yogic tradition. You know, I blend all of my expertise, all of my trainings, all of my certifications in my training in a way that makes sense, that is very like palpable Do you say palpable? I think palpable in English means something completely different than in French, but it makes it tangible. Like you can actually like touch it, touchable, like practical, whatever. It doesn't matter. I have this practice called Make Me Believe It. All right. So Make Me Believe It is only using your voice. So basically we'll be sitting in front of each other and I'm going to tell you to tell me something either that you want or a new price point that you want to sell your offers at, or a goal or something you're going to actually do. And I want you to make me believe it. I'm like putting pressure on you right now. Make me believe it. So let's say you struggle with worthiness. You don't feel worthy of success, of abundance, of money, of client, of holding the kind of things that you know you want. But you feel there is a gap between what you know you want, what you say you want, and what you feel like you can actually hold. And you feel kind of unworthy. We all at some point, I feel like, have struggled with that. So Make Me Believe It practice in this case would be, make me believe it that you're worthy and that you believe you're worthy. And so at first, because you don't actually believe you're worthy, you're gonna tell me like, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. And we're gonna go like that. I'm gonna ask you to play with the intonation of your voice. So maybe more calm, more from the belly, like, I am worthy. Maybe more fiery, I am worthy. Maybe you're mad. And we're gonna do that just with the voice. And you see how the voice needs to also involve your whole body, because there is a posture that comes with it. There is your breath, like how deep or shallow your breath is. There is how you hold your diaphragm. Diaphragm? I don't even know in French anymore. Neither in English. Like, I think I'm gonna really start to speak dolphin in this podcast, because what the fuck? So whatever. It changes your physiology because of the intonation. The intonation and Make Me Believe It practice is something I use a lot in my life, because maybe you can also approach, like, if you want to unlock more sensuality, like, how can you say something like, I'm so worthy? And just playing with your voice out loud with someone who receive you. You can already try it by yourself, right? But it's even more powerful when this voice and those intonations, the different frequencies, are directly hitting someone, right? And then you can be mindful and purposeful about it. So the next one I wrote on my list is the fighting insecurities with swords. So this is a whole visualization, embodied visualization that I do. So it's a visualization. You have your eyes closed. You are immersed with music and you really go deep into the feelings, but I want your body to experience it. So we usually do different stages of this practice. The first one would be how a specific insecurity makes you feel. So for instance, I feel like I'm repressing my expression, allowing myself to be more visible. How does that make me feel? Giving it a movement, giving it a breath, giving it a sound and a posture. So for me, it's going to make me feel so small. So I'm going to crawl back as a little ball. I'm going to clench my shoulders. And the sound that I'm going to give to that is almost I cannot breathe. So it's like, I cannot speak. I'm blocked. I'm going to really embody it, like feel how that makes me feel. Not as a concept of like, oh, I have this block and I have these things that I'm working through and I'm going to journal about it just to gain more insights. No, I'm going to feel in my body. If I work to give full space to this thing that just wants to be heard, right? Like we're not fighting, we're not destroying, we're giving space for it. But then you're going to call in another version of you through your body, which is your inner warrior. And your warrior has a sword that is able to break those insecurities. And so you're going to go with it. And the fact that you're moving your body using the movement, again, the breath, like how you breathe, how you move, that is going to create lasting change in your body, because you're going to know the felt visceral experience of having an insecurities, knowing how it makes you feel, and stepping into the warrior. How your muscles actually engage when you're standing strong. What is your posture? What is the frequency that emanates from that? And you're going to taste that, and you're going to be in movement. And the movements moves everything in your body. So all those insecurities, they're going to be shaken and they're going to be flushed. No thanks. Calling in physically the liberated version of you, how she would stand, how she would feel. In different instances, it can be a more, a quiet confidence that is just very relaxed, very calm. Like you just know who the fuck you are and you don't have to prove it to anyone. It can be a confidence that is a bit more activating and a little fiery and bold and like courageous and brave and like feel this excitement. It can be a lot of things, but when we feel different emotions, the body reacts in a certain way. But we can hack those emotions and those feelings by producing it for fake, but it's for real because your body actually feels them. Okay, so Daddy and Rosie are about to come home, so I need to wrap this episode. So I'm going to share with you one last thing that I love, and I have many more examples. Let me know if you want to know the secrets of my coaching. If you really want to know the secrets, you have to hire me, right? This is the best way to get a taste of that and to be held in that by the pro, the expert, someone that has done that for so many years, and someone that will actually push you much further than what you can push yourself. But for now, I think it's great that you steal those practices, or maybe you're inspired to create your own. That would be even more powerful. Like use your intuition, use your wisdom. If you are in this podcast, you believe your body is infinitely intelligent and you have an intelligence that is beyond what you think you know. You know a lot more than what you realize, and you're a lot stronger than you think you are, and you are a lot more confident and a lot more bright and a lot more powerful than you think you are. So tap into that inner wisdom. But for now, let me share the fifth and last practice for this episode. This one, I love it. I do it so much because it always makes me cry. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I do it with clients and they don't cry, I'm upset. Upset because many people have many ways of reacting to them. It creates stronger emotions, and for me it activates my inner warrior and my inner no matter what, I'm gonna hold on to my vision, because that's the topic of this thing. So this thing, I called it holding the vision in the storm. So holding the vision in the storm is basically a mix between some warrior music that really gets you in the feels of what it feels like. And it's going to be about painting the future vision of you, painting your vision as an entrepreneur, as an artist, as a visionary. Like, what do you stand for? And you can frame it and have it in front of you. And then there is many iteration of this practice, but one of my favorite is the bow and arrow. So you will aim at this vision and you're going to hold a very uncomfortable position for a very extended period of time until it burns, until you want to give up, until you want to drop your arm. So this practice is often based around the shoulders, right? Because we want to have the shoulders, in French, we have this expression, avoir les épaules pour, which means having the shoulders for. So the shoulders is what holds you. So either it's the bow and arrow. You can see how if you have to hold a posture of holding a bow and arrow, it's going to be challenging on your shoulders at some point. It can also be this Kundalini practice that I love. You hold your elbows up and then you open and close your arms. So this practice is also a good one. So everything that triggers the elbow fatigue, right? And we're going to go in your body, challenging you to hold the vision within the storm. So it's a whole hero's journey on its own, because you're going to go through holding the vision and how it feels and how important this vision is for you. And you're going to walk through the sunny days. Things are working out for you, but you're also going to walk through the storm, the wind, hurricane, snow, whatever it is, rain, just the shit of the shit. You're gonna have to stand strong in the storm. And I'm telling you, when you have the physical experience of that, it shifts you as a person. You're like, I'm never gonna give up on myself. And also, we create a little bit of pain, controlled pain in the body, controlled discomfort, to show to your body that you're able to do uncomfortable things and to be strong in it and to hold your vision through it. This is one of my favorite practices. I say that for every practice because this is my whole life. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what creates active change. And I have different expertise, right? I'm coaching both women in business. I'm coaching women in polarity, sensuality work. No matter what field of life, there is always a way to use your body more. The body-based business framework that I use is really the feminine way to explore your results. You've heard a lot and including in my podcast how feminine energy is important in business and whatever. This is the tangible ways in which you can apply it to your life. Because what you're going to do on the mat, I want to say on the mat, there's my yoga teacher training coming through. What you do on the mat impacts what you do outside the mat. My hope for you is that now you understand why journaling alone won't make you confident. It will help you gain some insights, but we cannot stop there. And I've shared some of the tangible exercises and practices that I do with my client, but you have to remember too that in those coaching sessions, you also have a lot of strategy. You also have a lot of like, okay, how do we actually structure your offer? How much should we charge? What is the systems that we can put in place so that everything is automated and we have a business model that makes sense and offers that make sense? We're not just playing pretend all the time, but this is an extremely important piece. And I think one without the other cannot produce the level of success and the level of results that we really want to reach. So my hope for this episode is that you feel inspired to go and do crazy shit. Because honestly, when you see me on a coaching call, like it would be so funny. When I was living at my parents' house and I was having my clients call, I had this all window, all glass from floor to ceiling wall so that people will come in front of me and I would be like on all fours and screaming and doing crazy fucking shit and call that my work. And this is still something that kind of blows my mind, and it's just so funny because we haven't been taught that. I wasn't taught that in my business school. I learned all of the theory and I learned none of the mindset either. Now that I think about it, I learned just the things you can apply, like how to understand marketing, how to understand leadership. But a lot of it comes down to what we believe about ourselves, what we feel in our system, how much we can hold in our nervous system. Because the strategies we're going to choose in the first place are in direct correlation to how we feel about ourselves. We're going to make tons of better decisions, more bold and more brave and more powerful decisions when we feel on top of our games. When we're so present to the body, we're gonna make better decisions. We're gonna follow through. We're gonna take more actions. And we all know that taking actions, making good decisions, being brave, taking risks is the key to success in the entrepreneurial world. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. That was such an edge for me to share my best kept secrets. My secrets so but I really wanted you to also get a feeling and a taste of what it could look like and what it feels like to be in my field, to be in my energy, how much fun we have through those practices. My ultimate goal is, yes, to make you feel uncomfortable. I don't know. That's my kink, I guess. Even as a yoga teacher, I was the kind of yoga teacher that would always repeat, find comfort in the discomfort. I would push people in their discomfort, but I also will bring a lot of jokes and fun to the game, because as much as this is like deep and serious work, I feel like we can have an approach of lightness and fun and pleasurable way to do that, right? Because it is serious work, because it is facing a lot of struggles, limitation, things we wish we didn't do this way. So that's to try to sum up my approach. And if you vibe with it, you know what you have to do. And you can start by DMing me Activate on Instagram, or you can even fill out the application form for Business Activator if you want to be part of this new round coming soon. This one is really special because I'm adding tons of value to the initial container of Business Activator that already got my clients amazing results. I'm adding so much value to that. One of that is having access to a whole vault of trainings that wasn't within Business Activator before, on top of all the personal individual work that we're going to do together. It's epic. And for now, it's only accessible to the people from the podcast. So enjoy it, because spots are going to fill out real quick. Thank you for being with me, and I talk to you next Friday.